Hey loves, it's Elle and welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to talk all about summer foundation sweat-proof makeup because I do get asked this a lot and I thought since it's Foundation Friday, I'd share some of my favorite tips. So before we get started, hit that subscribe button, share this video with somebody you think might like it, and let's do it. Alright, so in today's video we're actually going to be using a powder foundation. There are no liquid foundations in this video. Let's change it up, let's do something different, and let's get to the real tea on this. Okay, so the first step you need to know is I have dry skin. Powder foundations are not meant for my skin type. They are meant, in my opinion, for everybody that's normal, combination, oily, okay? But if you are dry, you can wear them because for the most part, generally speaking, powder foundations are gonna hold up in more humid, hot climates and very kind of sweaty situations. So for my skin type, what I start with is obviously I've prepped my skin very well. The one thing I did different though today is I put a lightweight moisturizer on because even though you want something to be sweat proof and you're dry, you still can't overhydrate with a moisturizer. So I have my essence on, I have all of my serums on, and then I have a lightweight gel moisturizer. I have the Amore Pacific Fluid moisturizer on. Then I'm going to apply SPF. This is the JOSIE MARAN Tinted SPF. You know I'm obsessed. The reason why I'm doing this is because it has a little bit of tack to it. It has a little bit of coverage, obviously SPF, as well as it is a little bit of a glowing moisture SPF. So it is going to add a little bit of glow to my skin that I will ever so badly need using a powder foundation. So the one thing that you're going to do, or not the one thing, but multiple things you're going to do a little bit different when you're trying to make sure that your makeup is sweat proof, is you're going to do things a little bit in reverse and you're going to be layering things, okay? So I'm going to let this sit just for a quick second and talk you through the next steps. The next step, so step 2 is going to be that primer is going to be a must. There is no getting around not using a primer when you are trying to make your makeup be lasting and especially humidity and sweat resistant, okay? Now, there's nothing that's sweat proof. I mean, even if you're going through menopause or you are in a humid climate, you still are going to sweat. It's the body's way of releasing toxins as well as heat. It's about cooling our body down. So we don't want to stop that. We just want to minimize the shine as much as possible and have the least amount of touch-ups. So primer, I'm going to be using the REN Perfect Canvas because this is a semi-satin matte primer. It's like a serum primer. Now this is what's good for my skin. Again, I put a glowy thing on first. I'm going to put something on that's a little bit more matte over it. Pick your favorite primer, but you need to wear one, okay? We need to build up those layers of protection from our skin. That's going to break down our makeup. This is actually an oldie but a goodie. I have used this for a long time. I've moved away from it because it is more on the matte side. And you know I've been loving my glow, or I love my glow. And that's it. And this primer actually is silicone free and has a little bit of tack to it. That's also going to be really fantastic is if you can get a primer that has a little bit of tack to it, okay? Third, apply your cream products before your foundation. So I'm going to be a little extra today because I want to show you a couple tips and tricks. I'm going to be using the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Illumination. I have medium and light, and I'm usually medium light, so I'm going to combine these two. The reason why I've picked this is because this concealer is waterproof. So again, we are talking all about making sure that those products are waterproof or either have a cream to powder finish to them. This concealer is super heavy. So you want to use just a little bit. So I have it on the back of my hand. I'm just going to take it on my dried little beauty blender and I'm going to conceal. Now, if you wanted to do color correction, now is the time before your concealer. So if you have a little discoloration around the mouth, or if I really cared to cover up any of my sunspots, this is the time to do color correction and then concealer. And so I am going to go in with this bad boy, and I probably even used too much. And I'm going to tap this all in. I am doing a little bit around my nose and on my nose because this is just always the places that I use a little bit of extra concealer. I'm going to scoot you in so you can see this. Okay, so it looks really crazy right now, so don't freak out, okay? This concealer does look a little light, and I probably used just a touch too much. I'll just be honest with you, because this concealer is fairly difficult to get the right amount, but I guarantee you that this is all gonna come together. This is also my highlight right now too. I'm actually highlighting at the same time that I am doing my concealer. All right, and you're also allowing your primer to go ahead and set. Now, if you want to, you can do a cream bronzer. This is really helpful if you don't want to add too many layers of powder on. So I'm just going to be using a cream bronzer. Pick your favorite, and I'm just going to use a little bit and just start to add a little dimension to the face. There we go. So now we have some color in the face again, and this is a great way to kind of mix everything together. And also too, by doing these layers like this, you are building more longevity in your makeup just innately. So I'm going to set this under eye area. I'm just going to take my RMS Beauty powder, pick your favorite, and I am going to set the under eye area. I normally, and this is a dry beauty blender, guys, I normally would use a damp beauty blender, but we are trying to keep everything more on the matte side, so I don't want to add any extra shine. I want to put shine where I want the shine. Especially when you're making your makeup sweat proof, you don't want to add glow in too many layers. You want to make sure that it is strategically placed so it doesn't start to look crazy. Okay. So there we are, everything is set there. We do not need to necessarily set the bronzer. The powder foundation will set it. All right, so now I have used a lot of pressed foundation powders in my history. Actually, one of the very first powders I used consistently was the MAC, what is it called? Studio Fix. MAC by MAC. It's the pressed foundation. I use that in NC25 for I can't tell you how many years. And I love it. I actually, when I very first started doing makeup, I carried in my kit. It is going to be a fuller coverage, but if you're looking for one, that's fantastic. Cover Effects has a beautiful collection of colors and undertones. Theirs is made without talc, and it's basically the Studio Fix from MAC, but a lot cleaner. So that's where I would go if I was looking for a powder like that. But I'm going to use something that's a little more suited towards my skin type since I am dry. It is the Well People Bio Base Baked Foundation. This is in number 2, and basically what it is, it's a liquid and a powder together. So what baked means is that any product that says baked, it once was a liquid and then they baked it and then it turned into a powder. So it has a more of a less chalky, less powdery finish to it. But this is a pressed powder foundation. And so I'm just going to take it on a stippling brush. This is the Sigma Flat Kabuki 580. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a combination between stippling right around here, and then I'll show you when I swirl. So this is literally what I do. And I go right over that bronzer, guys. Right over that bronzer. Okay? Because you can still see the definition, but it's now being set. And I'm just stippling, stippling, stippling. It's really that simple. This is a beautiful green beauty, and I'm just now swirling down my neck and on my chin. You want to make sure your pressure, though, is fairly light because you don't want to move anything underneath it. We are ready to rock and roll. I mean, it's really that simple. That is how easy powder foundations are. And if you have prepped the skin appropriately with your primer and all of that good stuff, you will be golden. So that is that. Now, if you really wanted to, you could also take like a finishing powder like Hourglass over it if you want to. You could even take like Charlotte Tilbury's pressed finishing powder if you wanted to, and just kind of go over the face. This will make it a little bit more full coverage, but you don't want to layer too many powders because then it starts to get powdery. But that's kind of another way of kind of finishing it off with this. So this is what the skin looks like. I'll stay real still. Pretty matte, pretty ready to go on with the rest of it. Now, the rest of it's obviously optional, and it's going to be what your personal tastes are. I'm going to take the Baked Bronzer from Well People, and I am going to just lightly add a little bit more definition into the skin because it's summer, so why the heck not? And I'll show you guys in real light at the end of this video. I'll show you. I'll go into natural light on my phone so you can see this. Sometimes I'll go down my sides of my nose when I use powder foundations. I don't know. It just makes everything super one-dimensional because that's the point of it. So I'll add a little bit more dimension in with products like this. And I will go right over my eyes with this bronzer. I mean, that's how simple this look is, you guys. Yay. Eyeballs back. A little bit of Becca blush. Now this blush has, it's in Damsfly. I don't know. I don't even know if she sells these anymore, but I'll link it below. This blush has a little bit of shift to it. What I mean by shift is it does have a little bit of movement in the finish of it, so it is going to add a little bit of glow. Super pigmented. Look how beautiful that is, though. Beautiful, beautiful. A little bit over the eyes. I mean, literally. Perfect. And if I wanted to, I could add just a little bit pinker on the cheek if I really wanted to, but I think I'm going to go with a nude lip, so yeah. So that's looking good. That is looking good. Okay, so now if you wanted to use highlighter, you can. If you don't, by all means, you do not need to use it. I'm going to use just a tiny bit because this is by Hourglass. I just need a little extra glow, but please, if you are super oily or you know that you're going to be, you know, somewhere where the humidity is just rampant, you don't need to add highlighter because you will have it naturally. All right. Now, make sure you stay in tune though, because I have a couple more tips at the end. You have to set your makeup. If you want it to be smudge proof, waterproof as you know, ish as much as possible, you need to set it with an actual setting spray with alcohol in it. One of my favorite ones that I no longer have, like if you really have a problem with your makeup slipping off and sweating, it's called Model in a Bottle. I will put it in the description box. It is the most amazing waterproof makeup setting spray ever. It's more for a special event. So, but the Urban Decay one is fantastic, you guys. If you're looking for something like this is the all-nighter. It really works. It really works. So I'm just going to set this. You know, give a pretty generous spray of this, you guys. It's going to combine all of your powders. It's going to set your makeup, and it's going to create that film over your makeup to really protect it from heat, environment, as well as keep everything where it's supposed to be. Okay, so let me just finish up and I'll be right back with a couple last tips and tricks. All right, loves, so here is the final look. Again, I will take you out into some natural light. Give me 2 seconds. Well, I've done nothing more except for just put a lip on, brows, and eyelashes, or mascara. A couple tips that you could also do if you're still having a problem with this is to make sure you spray your skincare or your primer with your setting spray. So you would go skincare, moisturizer, SPF, spray that bad boy down, and then primer, or SPF, primer, and then spray that bad boy down. It will also help lock in each layer of your makeup. Also, another tip is using a powder foundation, you know, as we did today, and taking it with you is a lot easier to touch up than using a liquid foundation. So that's a great benefit to it, because for the most part, what do? We sweat maybe above our lip, right? We sweat obviously around our hairline. Obviously there's a lot more other places, but those are pretty easy to touch up with your pressed powder foundation. So that's something to keep in mind too, is to make sure you travel with that. And again, they're usually a little compact. They fit right in your purse or backpack or whatever you use. So they're super easy and transferable wherever you might go today. And I know I never use powder foundation, so I hope you enjoyed this. I actually really like the way that it looks. I'm kind of impressed. Like, I don't know, I might start doing this a little more often if I'm like rushed or something, or during the summer. The only thing for me is I probably would not use a setting spray. I would use more of a rehydrating spray, just because I don't want the alcohol on my skin. But that's probably the only thing that I would do different. But I do love that Well People foundation. It's gorgeous. But if you have other pressed foundations that you really like, please put them in the comment section to help everybody out. So let's go into some natural light. All right, loves, so here it is in natural light. I'm literally just standing in front of a window. It looks pretty darn good, don't you think? I'm impressed. Like, I'm kind of excited about this. So thank you so much for pushing me out of my own comfort zone and trying some of my oldie but goodie tricks. So I appreciate it. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Lots of love from me to you. Bye, loves.